As Portreeve of Laugharne, it gives me great pleasure to open the Browns Hotel and to welcome you all here tonight. But before I do this, I would personally like to thank Mr. Nigel Short for his interest in the ancient township of Laugharne and for the enthusiasm and financial input he has given to put life back into one of the iconic buildings of Laugharne. So I would like to thank Gay Wright, who is the director of Duracell, and his firm for having done an outstanding job. Thanks. I would also like to thank the architect, the interior designer, planners, painters, tilers, plumbers, air conditioning, and the IT personnel, also Jan, local labour, and the electricians. For those who do not know, the Browns Hotel was built in 1752 by Mr. Brown, who was a doctor in the community, and Clarence House was his surgery, and the door that has now been reinstated in the bar area was his access to the surgery. Of course, the most famous person to use the Browns was Dylan Thomas, and I'm delighted that his granddaughter, Hannah Ellis, has been able to come here and be with us today. This was Dylan's drinking place, and he must have sat here and met all the local characters who frequented.
Have another drink.
The Browns, and no doubt one or two of there in this under Milkwood. I would like to wish Charlie, the manager, of the Browns and his staff all the best for the future, and I'm sure that the hotel will prosper and have a great future. I now declare the Browns Hotel open, so everybody drink up. Free I will hand over to my friend, which I met tonight, Hannah. Free drinks on the pulpit.
Now, in my grandfather's broadcast about Laugharne, he speculated why people live in Laugharne. He said some are born here and others migrate for a number of reasons, from places as distant as Tonopandi or even England. For him, for him, he just got off a bus and didn't get back on again. I suspect this was one of the first places he visited, and it became his favourite Laugharne bar. And he used to sit just, I think, I'm not entirely sure, it was either under the window there, or on the right, just as where people entered. And he was often seen completing a crossword with his father, DJ, or playing cards with Ebby and Ivy Williams, who ran the Browns at the time. And he was also often seen after hours with Ebby and Ivy gossiping about all the locals in Laugharne. And I think probably that's where he got his inspiration for Under Milkwood. I think you'll probably agree. Yeah. And I suspect he probably felt very much at home in 1953, because in his broadcast he said he's hardly ever stoned in the streets anymore, and can even claim to call several inhabitants and a few of the herons by their Christian names. My mum also carried on the family tradition of coming to the Browns and was often seen popping in for a G&T. And people would often say to her that they knew the Thomases in the 40s and 50s. And one guy said to her, "I can't say I knew your father, though I did share an elevator with him once." And another wife of somebody was grumbling away to my mum and said, "Oh, when my husband sees a coach load of Americans, he's there quick as a shot with his bunch of lies. He says he knew Dylan well and how his children played with the Thomas children. And the cheek of it is that he's from Clandilo. Wasn't even here when your father was alive." Talking of elaborate stories, I cannot talk about the Browns without mentioning the legendary Tommy Watts. And I'm told he tried to sell so-called Dylan Thomas memorabilia, so-called, I say, dartboards, I think, to gullible American tourists. Brown's has been significant for our family for over 70 years. My grandfather and grandmother had their wakes here after being buried at St Martin's Church, and in 2009, after scattering my mum's ashes at the boathouse, we came here to raise a glass to her, and the pub was in quite a state at the time. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Charlie, Nigel, all the team, everyone that was involved, to bringing the Browns Hotel back to its rightful place, being at the centre of this wonderful and quirky village. So can we give a big round of applause and give a big